Hey everyone, the last Shoegazer here, bringing you a movie review for
I could stop if I wanted to.
This review is a part of my good buddy Joe, TheHORRORman's Saturday Slashback series. And this week, Joe asks us to give a certain slasher that didn't quite do it for us the first time a second chance. So he dubbed it Second Chance Slashers. And while Adam Green's Hatchet 2 that you see here wasn't necessarily like a complete miss for me the first time I watched it, compared to a number of the other films in the Hatchet franchise, including Victor Crowley. This one I didn't hit the mark for me the first time. I did do a full Hatchet franchise ranking, which I will leave a link for in the description box below if you guys want to check that out to see my general thoughts about the franchise. I kind of do like little mini reviews for each one. And you will see that at the time when I did the franchise ranking last year, I kind of ranked this pretty low. So I thought, you know what, I'd like to revisit this one. I almost checked out Victor Crowley because I ranked that one fairly low as well. But I thought I need to give Hatchet 2 another chance. I actually bought a second copy, which is what you see here, at Best Buy a couple weeks ago for like $3, brand new. So I thought there must have been a reason why I picked up a little backup copy there. I already had one that I purchased earlier last year when I was just kind of getting introduced to this franchise. So yeah, I decided to pop it in the other evening, and I'll be honest, I was hoping that I would have a complete turnaround with my feelings towards this one, but they didn't change a whole lot. I will say that I do like it a little bit better. I think after a second viewing, some of my initial thoughts have since changed since last year. I'm not sure if it would necessarily change the position with the ranking that I did last year in comparison to the others in the franchise. But yeah, I think my original statement was I thought it was just a little bit too long and drawn out of like a build up in the beginning. I wouldn't have even called it like a slow burn, because I love a lot of horror films with a really good quality, like tense slow burn. I felt like this one kind of revisited the story behind Victor Crowley. A little bit too much time spent just kind of like assembling like the militia, the hired hands that are gonna get the job done, taking out Victor Crowley in his swamp. I think the first time that annoyed me more than this time. I think the difference there being at the time last year, I hadn't seen Candyman, so Tony Todd was a familiar face, and I knew he was, the Candyman, but I had not seen it yet, so he wasn't really that special, in my opinion, at the time. But since then, I've picked up the Scream Factory collector's edition of Candyman, and I actually reviewed that for one of my Slashback reviews earlier on in the game, and I really enjoy him. And I've since seen him in a number of other films, and now seeing him in this, in a really cool role, I think I appreciated his presence more, and especially like during like the finale, the big fight scene. Sorry if I give anything away, but I'm sure if you're watching this, you've seen these films. But spoiler alert, the final fight between Tony Todd's character and Kane Hodder's Victor Crowley. It's almost like I was watching Candyman versus Jason in a way, which was really, really cool and was really brutal. So I think that seeing that ending and having a little bit better, like more powerful of closure, definitely brought this to like a higher level in my book. So definitely go into this if you have not seen it. I apologize if I spoiled anything with the ending there, but hopefully, if you are new to this, it's at least something to look forward to. But who doesn't want to see those two guys go head to head? It's pretty awesome. But if you haven't seen this is a very seamless pickup from the ending of the original Hatchet, which is still, I'm sure if I even saw it again, I've seen it a number of times now, if I revisited that, I don't think my feelings would change too much. I just think it brings all the goods. It always sat well, in my book, whereas this one kind of just, it doesn't. I don't know why. Some of the acting just feels like it's a little bit off. I like that, Adam Green tried to get Kane Hodder to kind of show a little bit more like emotion, as he's also portraying Victor's dad, going through a lot of tension and turmoil and tragedy. It is kind of heartbreaking, but in a film like this, I don't really want to see Kane Hodder crying on camera. I just kind of want to see him doing his thing as Victor Crowley. So I know what Adam Green was going for, kind of trying to achieve a little bit more of like an in-depth dimension for fans to embrace. And I thought, Kane Hodder did a really nice job, but that didn't really sit too well with me. I felt like the original just kind of brought more of the intensity and the gore and the craziness and the kills and a little bit, more comedy, but it wasn't too much. It was just like the perfect blend. And I feel like Hatchet 3, it kind of did it a little bit more for me than Hatchet 2. And I know a lot of people don't even really care for the third one. And I'm curious, to see if I did revisit a few of those, if my ranking would change. So maybe I'll do a revised, like updated Hatchet franchise ranking again at some point, but that will demand some other rewatches, which I'm up for. I've really been wanting to go back to the swamp, as I told Joe in his little preemptive teaser there, that I'd be returning to the swamp this week. So I'm assuming he picked up on what I was going for, but maybe wasn't quite sure which one I was talking about. So yeah, I would definitely recommend watching Hatchet 2. Don't watch it if you haven't seen the original. Watch the first one and then just plop this sucker right in, because it just picks up where that leaves off. Pretty seamless. It continues the story. It kind of retells some things in a cool, kind of different way, but very similar. Initially, aside from the slow burn that didn't really work for me, a little bit too much build up, that didn't feel tense. It was a pretty explosive beginning, and then we hit like the title screen, and then it just, I don't know, it kind of fell apart for me a little bit. But then, like, the kills, initially I did say that they were a little bit less real looking as compared to the original and some of the others. But I would say that's like one of the biggest parts, other than embracing Tony Todd, and that cool pairing, between him and the legend Kane Hodder, and then going at it at the end. That really did it for me this time, and I was really happy with that. But I thought the kills were more believable this time than the first time I saw it. I don't know if I was just being too hard on them as compared to what I saw in the original, which was just amazing. But yeah, I found them to be more entertaining. I was definitely, enjoying every bit of, that part of this film, which there was a good bit of it. And I will say, being a huge fan of Silver Bullet, I talk about it all the time. It's my favorite horror film from back in the day, first one I ever saw. I feel like whenever the militia kind of stirring up some private justice, in the words of you know, the police officer there in Silver Bullet, and some of the townsfolk who are taking matters into their own hands and going to hunt the werewolf out in the fog-drenched woods, and just awesome, really creepy. I feel like as they kind of assembled and entered the swamp, this time, you know, I kind of thought that the first time, but this time it just kind of like felt even more that way, so that was really cool. And then seeing Tony Todd a part of that was really extra awesome. But the kills were really good. I think I might have been a little too critical of them the first watch of this, but yeah, I'm curious to see if this would change in my ranking, if I would revisit the others. I'm assuming the original would still be pretty high on my list. I do like the third. Victor Crowley, like I said, was pretty low. But then again, that's how I started my foot in the door with this whole franchise. I started backwards, as I've mentioned before. So maybe I just need to rewatch everything and do a re-ranking at some point. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this one, how it holds up to the others. I am glad that I revisited this one and gave it a second chance. So thanks, Joe, for kind of inspiring us to check out one that wasn't a favorite. And I'm glad I did. I feel like I do enjoy this a little bit more, but it's definitely not my favorite Hatchet film. So yeah, happy late Slashback Saturday, everybody. Can't wait to see what you guys pick. I always enjoy kind of working through as I'm able throughout a week's time, and seeing what awesome films you guys watch. So here you go, Joe. And until next time, guys, have a good one.